Imagine losing everything you built in a single night, not to an enemy, but to the people you trusted most. Marcus James thought power could protect him. He was wrong. The rain hammered against the glass walls of the 47th floor like thousands of tiny fists demanding entry. Inside the executive suite of James Tech Industries, the silence was deafening, the kind of silence that comes after an explosion when the smoke hasn't cleared yet, and you're not sure if you're still breathing. Marcus stood alone in his corner office, his reflection barely visible in the rain-streaked windows, watching the city lights blur into watercolor smudges below. At 38, he had built an empire from nothing, a tech conglomerate worth billions, respected across 3 continents, feared by competitors. Tonight, all of it was crumbling. The servers were burning, not literally, but digitally, which in his world meant the same thing. 7 years of encrypted client data, proprietary algorithms, financial records, everything that made James Tech valuable was being systematically destroyed by a cyber attack so sophisticated that his entire security team stood paralyzed, helpless, watching their screens fill with cascading red alerts they couldn't stop. Stay with me until the end, because this isn't just a story about money or power. It's about discovering that salvation sometimes comes from the places we never think to look. And if you believe that the most invisible people can change everything, hit like and subscribe. This story will prove you right. Marcus pressed his palm against the cold glass, feeling the vibration of the storm outside. His jaw was tight, his breathing controlled, but inside, he was drowning. The board members had left an hour ago, their faces pale with panic, their voices sharp with blame. His CFO had already started drafting resignation letters. His head of security had locked himself in the server room, frantically trying to salvage what couldn't be saved. And his fiancée, Isabella, the woman who was supposed to stand beside him through anything, had sent a text 30 minutes ago saying she needed space to think, as if his entire life wasn't collapsing in real time. He turned away from the window, running both hands through his dark hair, feeling the weight of exhaustion pressing down on his shoulders like iron chains. The office felt enormous suddenly, too big, too empty, echoing with the ghosts of victories that no longer mattered. Awards lined the walls, magazine covers with his face, photos of handshakes with presidents and CEOs, all of it meaningless now. The attack had started at 9:47 p.m. By 10:15, they knew it was internal. By 10:30, they knew it was personal. Someone inside his company, someone he trusted, someone he paid, someone who smiled at him in meetings, had sold him out, had opened the gates and let the wolves in. And now those wolves were tearing apart everything he'd spent his adult life building, line by line, file by file, destroying not just his company, but his reputation, his legacy, his future. Marcus walked to his desk, the sound of his footsteps muffled by the thick carpet. His laptop screen glowed with chaos, emergency alerts, panicked emails from clients threatening lawsuits, news articles already being published with headlines like "Tech Giant Falls" and "James Empire in Crisis." His phone buzzed constantly, but he'd stopped answering an hour ago. What could he say? That he'd failed? That he'd been blind? That he'd trusted the wrong people and now everyone would pay the price? He sat down slowly, feeling older than his years, and stared at the screen without really seeing it. His mind kept replaying the last few months, searching for clues he'd missed. The small moments, the strange glances, the conversations that ended too quickly when he entered a room. How had he not seen it? How had someone gotten so close without him knowing? The office door opened quietly. Marcus didn't look up. He assumed it was another executive coming to deliver more bad news, or perhaps his lawyer arriving to discuss damage control. But the footsteps were different, lighter, hesitant, accompanied by the soft sound of wheels rolling across the floor. "Pardon, senor." The voice was gentle, accented, unfamiliar. Marcus lifted his head. A woman stood just inside the doorway, partially hidden in shadow. She wore a simple grey uniform, the kind worn by the cleaning staff. In her hands, she pushed a small cart loaded with supplies, trash bags, spray bottles, folded cloths. She looked to be in her early 30s, with dark hair pulled back in a practical bun, olive skin, and eyes that seemed too calm for the chaos surrounding them. She didn't look afraid of him, which was unusual. Most people who entered his office carried an edge of nervous energy, aware they were in the presence of power. This woman looked at him like he was simply another person. "I can come back later," she said quietly, already starting to turn the cart around. "No." Marcus heard himself say the word before he decided to speak. His voice sounded hollow. "It doesn't matter. Nothing matters tonight." The woman paused, her hands still on the cart handle. For a moment, she seemed to consider leaving anyway. Then slowly she pushed the cart inside and began emptying the trash bins along the far wall with smooth, practiced movements. She worked efficiently, but not rushed, as if she had all the time in the world, as if the emergency sirens blaring from the server room 3 floors down didn't exist. Marcus watched her without meaning to. There was something oddly calming about the mundane normalcy of her presence, someone simply doing their job while his world burned. She moved through the office like water, quiet and unhurried, wiping down surfaces, straightening chairs, existing in a parallel universe where billion-dollar disasters didn't matter, because floors still needed to be cleaned and trash still needed to be emptied. She was almost finished when she glanced at his laptop screen, just a brief look, barely a second, and then froze. It was subtle. Anyone else might have missed it. But Marcus had spent 20 years reading people in boardrooms, learning to catch the micro-expressions that revealed truth beneath polished lies. And in that single moment, he saw something flicker across her face. Not confusion, not curiosity, recognition. The woman's eyes moved across the cascading code on his screen, the red alerts, the broken firewalls, the encrypted warnings his security team couldn't decipher. And for just a heartbeat, her expression shifted into something that looked almost like understanding. Then she caught herself, smoothed her features back into neutral professionalism, and returned to wiping down the conference table. But it was too late. Marcus sat up straighter, his exhaustion suddenly sharpening into focus. "You know what that is." It wasn't a question. The woman's hand stilled on the table surface. She didn't turn around, didn't look at him, but her shoulders tensed almost imperceptibly. "I clean offices, senor," she said softly. "I don't understand computers." "You're lying." The words hung in the air between them, not accusatory but certain. Marcus stood up slowly, moving around his desk, studying her with the same intensity he used to evaluate acquisition targets and investment risks. The woman finally turned to face him, her expression carefully neutral, but her eyes betrayed her. They were intelligent, sharp, holding depths that didn't match her uniform or her position. "What's your name?" Marcus asked. A pause, long enough to be significant. "Anna," she said finally. "Anna Sole." "How long have you worked here, Anna?" 3 months. "And before that?" Another pause. "Other places, other buildings." Marcus moved closer, not threatening but searching, trying to understand the strange certainty growing in his chest, the feeling that this moment mattered, that this woman standing in front of him with a cleaning cart and a secret was somehow important in ways he couldn't yet define. "That code on my screen," he said quietly, gesturing toward his laptop. "It's a polymorphic virus with adaptive encryption. It's currently destroying 7 years of proprietary data, and my security team can't stop it because it's rewriting itself faster than they can analyze it. Do you know what any of that means?" Anna met his gaze directly for the first time. In the dim office light, her eyes looked almost black, fathomless, carrying the weight of truths she wasn't speaking. "Yes," she whispered. The single word landed like a stone in still water, ripples spreading outward, changing everything. Marcus felt his pulse quicken. "Can you stop it?" Anna looked away, her jaw tightening. She seemed to be waging some internal war, caught between instinct and fear, between hiding and revealing. When she spoke again, her voice was barely audible. "Maybe." How does an invisible woman save a crumbling empire? And what secrets is she hiding behind those two calm eyes? Marcus didn't move, didn't breathe. The word hung between them like a fragile thread, connecting two worlds that should never have touched. The multi-millionaire CEO standing in his glass tower, and the cleaning woman who had just admitted she might be able to do what his entire team of experts couldn't. "Maybe," he repeated slowly, testing the word, trying to understand its weight. "Maybe isn't good enough. I need certainty. You need a miracle," Anna interrupted softly, still not looking at him. "And miracles don't come with guarantees, senor." She moved to collect her cart, her movements suddenly urgent, as if she'd revealed too much and needed to escape before the consequences caught up. But Marcus stepped into her path, not blocking her exactly, but making it clear she wasn't leaving yet. "Wait." His voice came out rougher than intended. "If you can help, if there's even a chance, why are you walking away?" Anna's hands gripped the cart handle so tightly, her knuckles went white. For several seconds she didn't answer. The rain continued its assault on the windows, and somewhere far below, the city lived its oblivious life, unaware that 47 floors up, everything was changing. "Because I stopped being that person," she finally said, her voice carrying an edge of something that sounded like grief. "I left that world behind. I don't do this anymore." "Do what?" She lifted her eyes to his, and Marcus saw pain there. Old pain, carefully buried, but never quite healed. "Fix other people's disasters, fight battles that aren't mine, risk everything for—" She stopped herself, shaking her head. "It doesn't matter. I'm sorry about your company, senor, truly, but I can't help you." She tried to move past him, but Marcus caught her wrist, gently, not restraining, just enough to keep her there for one more moment. Her skin was warm beneath his fingers, and he felt her pulse racing fast and afraid. "What happened to you?" he asked quietly. The question seemed to crack something inside her. Anna pulled her hand away, not roughly but firmly, creating distance that felt like miles. "What happens to everyone who trusts the wrong people and pays the price? Now, if you'll excuse me, 3 million euros. Anna stopped. Marcus hadn't planned to say it. The number came from some desperate place inside him, the part that recognized he was watching his only chance walk out the door, pushing a cleaning cart. "That's what I'll pay you. Right now. Transfer it to whatever account you want, wherever in the world you want it, completely untraceable. 3 million euros to stop this attack." Anna turned slowly, her expression unreadable. "You don't even know if I can do it." "No," Marcus admitted. "But I know you understood that code in 3 seconds when my security team has been staring at it for 2 hours. I know you're lying about who you are. And I know—" He paused, surprised by the certainty in his own voice. "I know you're my only chance." The silence stretched between them, heavy with possibility and risk. Marcus could see the war playing out behind her eyes, fear battling something else, something that looked almost like longing. As if part of her missed whatever she'd walked away from, as if her hands remembered skills they were no longer allowed to use. 5 million, Anna said quietly. Marcus blinked. What? If I do this? If I even try? It's 5 million euros. And you never ask me who I am, where I came from, or why I'm working here. After tonight, we pretend this never happened. I go back to cleaning floors, you go back to running your empire, and we never speak again. There was something heartbreaking in the way she said it, as if she were protecting them both from a connection that couldn't be allowed to exist. Marcus wanted to argue, wanted to demand answers, wanted to understand why a woman with her knowledge was emptying trash cans instead of running her own company. But he could see in her face that questions would end this moment, would send her walking away forever. Deal, he said. Anna studied him for a long moment, searching for something. Honesty maybe, or desperation sincere enough to trust. Whatever she found must have been enough, because she finally nodded once, sharp and decisive. I need access to your system, full admin privileges, and I need everyone out of the server room. Done. And Marcus... She used his first name without the formal Senor, and somehow that small intimacy felt more significant than the millions they'd just negotiated. When this is over, you forget you ever met me. She didn't wait for his answer. Anna abandoned her cleaning cart in the middle of his office and walked toward his desk with a different kind of movement now. No longer the invisible cleaning woman, but something else entirely, someone else entirely. She sat down in his chair without asking permission, her fingers already moving across the keyboard with a speed and precision that made his earlier certainty crystallize into absolute conviction. This woman wasn't just familiar with code, she was fluent in it, native, like someone who thought in algorithms and dreamed in data streams. Marcus moved to stand behind her, watching the screens fill with new windows, command lines, strings of text he couldn't decipher. Anna's face had changed, the careful neutrality replaced by intense focus, her eyes tracking patterns he couldn't see, her mind working through problems at a speed that felt almost supernatural. It's beautiful, she murmured, almost to herself. What? The virus? Whoever designed this? She shook her head slowly, her fingers never stopping their dance across the keys. They're brilliant, cruel but brilliant. It's not just destroying data, it's corrupting backups simultaneously, rewriting archive timestamps, creating false recovery points that lead nowhere. By the time you realized what was happening, it was already too late to save anything through normal channels. Marcus felt his stomach drop. So it's impossible. I didn't say that. Anna pulled up another window, her eyes scanning lines of code that scrolled past, faster than he could follow. There's always a back door, always one thread the architect leaves loose, either from arrogance or necessity. The trick is finding it before... She stopped mid-sentence, leaning closer to the screen. There. What did you find? A pattern. See here. She pointed to a section of code, though Marcus couldn't distinguish it from the chaos surrounding it. The virus is adaptive, but its core replication protocol has a fixed signature. It has to, or it couldn't maintain coherence across distributed systems. That signature is its weakness. If I can isolate it, reverse engineer the encryption key, I might be able to inject a counter algorithm that forces the virus to consume itself. She spoke with quiet confidence now, the hesitation from before completely gone. This was someone in her element, doing what she was born to do. Marcus found himself captivated, not just by her competence, but by the transformation itself, the way her whole being had shifted from invisible to essential, from hidden to revealed. How long will it take? He asked. Hours. Maybe more. And Marcus... She glanced up at him briefly, her expression serious. This might not work. The person who built this knew what they were doing. If I'm wrong about the signature, or if there's a fail-safe I'm not seeing, I could accelerate the destruction instead of stopping it. So we might lose everything faster. Yes. Marcus looked at the screens, at the red alert still cascading across multiple monitors, at the empire he'd built bleeding out in real time. Then he looked at Anna. This stranger, this mystery, this woman who had appeared in his darkest moment like something sent by a universe that occasionally still believed in second chances. Do it, he said. Anna held his gaze for one more heartbeat, and something passed between them. Not trust exactly, but something deeper. Recognition, maybe. Two people who understood what it meant to risk everything on a maybe, to throw yourself into the void and hope the fall doesn't kill you. She turned back to the screen and began typing in earnest. Marcus pulled up a chair beside her, close enough to watch but not intrude. The office fell into a new kind of silence, not the dead quiet of defeat, but the tense hush of war being waged in invisible dimensions. Anna's fingers flew across the keyboard with a rhythm that felt almost musical, each keystroke deliberate, each command precise. She worked with the intensity of someone who'd done this before, fought these battles before, lost and won in ways that had carved her into who she was now. Minutes passed, then an hour. The rain outside eventually softened to a steady drizzle, the storm exhausting itself while inside. Another storm was just beginning to turn. Talk to me, Marcus said quietly, needing to understand, needing to feel less helpless. What are you doing? Anna didn't look away from the screen. Building a trap. The virus thinks it's invincible, that it can adapt to any countermeasure. But adaptive systems have a weakness. They have to analyze threats before responding. So I'm creating a false threat, something that looks dangerous but is actually harmless. When the virus tries to adapt to it, that split second of analysis creates a window. And in that window, she paused, her fingers hovering over the keys. I hit it with everything. Will it work? Ask me in 3 minutes. Those 3 minutes felt like 3 lifetimes. Marcus watched the screens, watched Anna's face, watched the battle he couldn't see playing out in electric pulses and mathematical certainties. His company's survival balanced on the edge of this moment, on the skills of a woman he'd met an hour ago, a woman whose real name he wasn't sure he even knew. Then Anna's hands stilled. She leaned back slowly, her eyes fixed on one particular monitor, where code was scrolling past in what looked like reverse, unpacking itself, unraveling like thread being pulled from fabric. It's working, she whispered. Marcus felt something release in his chest, hope maybe, or just the permission to breathe again. On the screens, the red alerts were slowing, stuttering, beginning to turn yellow, then green. System after system came back online, data structures rebuilding themselves, the hemorrhaging stopped. You did it, Marcus said, his voice rough with exhaustion and relief, and something else he couldn't name. But Anna shook her head, her expression still tense. Not yet. I stopped the attack, but whoever launched it is still out there, still inside your network. And Marcus... She finally turned to look at him, her eyes dark, with a knowledge that frightened him. This wasn't random. This was personal. The Empire is saved, but the betrayer still walks among them unseen and waiting, and Anna knows something she's not saying, something that will change everything. The words hung in the air like poison. Personal. Marcus felt his blood turn cold. He'd suspected betrayal. The attack had come from inside, but hearing it confirmed made it real in a way terror couldn't capture. What do you mean? Anna's fingers continued moving, pulling up logs, tracing digital footprints through layers of security. Her face remained illuminated by the screens, shadows pooling beneath her eyes. "The virus wasn't designed to destroy your company," she said quietly. "It was designed to destroy you specifically." "Look," she pointed to code Marcus couldn't decipher. "The attack targeted your personal files first. Your emails, private documents, financial records. Company data was secondary, almost collateral. Someone wanted to ruin you, not just James Tech." Marcus stood abruptly, walking to the windows. He pressed his forehead against cold glass, feeling the city's vibration below. Behind him, Anna continued working, her silence louder than accusation. "Can you trace it?" "I already did." The simplicity made him turn. Anna looked at him now, her expression carrying something like pity. She gestured to a monitor showing a timestamp and IP address. "The attack was initiated from inside this building, 45th floor, 3 hours ago." She paused. "From your head of security's terminal." The world tilted. Diego Ferreira, his head of security for 6 years, the man he'd trusted with every password, every vulnerability, the man supposedly trying to stop the attack he'd actually launched. Marcus felt sick. "Are you certain?" "Yes. And Marcus—" She moved toward him carefully, as if approaching something wounded. "There's more. The virus has a secondary protocol, a failsafe. If I hadn't stopped it, it would have triggered in 23 minutes. It wouldn't have just destroyed data. It would have transferred ownership of your company's assets to an offshore account. Everything. Your stocks, patents, intellectual property. Gone, legally transferred, impossible to recover." Marcus stared, his mind struggling to process. This wasn't sabotage. This was theft. Calculated, precise, designed to leave him with nothing. "Diego couldn't have done this alone," Marcus said hollowly. "He's competent, but not this competent. Someone else is involved. With a motive," Anna finished quietly. Their eyes met. She knew. This woman he'd met 2 hours ago could read the situation with terrifying clarity. "Who benefits most from your destruction?" Anna asked gently. Marcus's mind raced through possibilities. Competitors, dozens, but none desperate enough. Former employees, unlikely. Board members, they'd lose too much. His thoughts circled, narrowing until only one name remained. One person who knew his routines, vulnerabilities, blind spots. One person who stood to inherit everything if he fell. "Isabella," he whispered. Anna said nothing. Her silence was confirmation. Marcus felt something break inside him. Not his heart exactly, but something adjacent. The carefully constructed world he'd believed in, the future he'd imagined, the trust he'd given freely. All crumbling. His fiancée. The woman he'd planned to marry in 6 months. The woman who'd said she loved him, who'd promised forever. She'd been planning this, working with Diego, waiting for the perfect moment. "I need proof." Anna returned to the desk, fingers flying. Windows opened, files materialized. Email threads appeared showing exchanges between Diego and an encrypted address that traced back to Isabella's private laptop. The evidence was damning. Months of planning, detailed strategies, financial projections. Even jokes about how easy it would be, how blind Marcus was. He read the words and felt nothing. Pain would come later. Right now, only cold clarity existed. "Where is she?" "Still in the building. Security logs show she came back 40 minutes ago. 45th floor. With Diego. Probably celebrating, counting money they thought was theirs." Marcus picked up his phone. His hands were steady despite building rage. He dialed his lawyer, then legal. Short instructions, freeze accounts. "File charges, prepare for war. Then he looked at Anna. "Come with me." "Marcus, please." The word came raw, honest. I can't do this alone." Anna hesitated. This wasn't their deal. She'd agreed to save his company, not witness his devastation. But something in his expression reached her. After a long moment, she nodded. They rode the elevator down in silence. 2 floors felt like miles. Doors opened onto a corridor, most offices dark except one at the far end where light spilled through frosted glass. Marcus walked toward it with Anna beside him, her presence grounding him. They stopped outside. Inside, voices. Diego's rough laugh, Isabella's lighter one, glasses clinking. Celebrating. Marcus pushed the door open. Diego and Isabella sat at the conference table, champagne glasses in hand, laptop open showing financial documents. They were so absorbed they didn't notice at first. Then Isabella looked up. Her face went pale. "Marcus, don't," he said quietly. "Security is already coming. So are police. It's over." Isabella recovered faster, her face shifting into false concern. "Marcus, whatever you think, I know exactly what happened. The virus, the asset transfer, all of it." He watched emotions cycle through her face. Shock, fear, calculation, finally contempt. "You were so easy," she said, dropping pretense. "So trusting, so blind. Did you really think I loved you? That anyone could love someone so cold?" The words were meant to wound, but Marcus felt nothing, or everything numbed into ice. "I was never cold," he said quietly. "I was careful. I built everything from nothing and protected it. That's not coldness, that's survival. And yet here you are, about to lose it all anyway." "No." Anna's voice cut through, quiet but absolute. "He's not." Isabella's eyes shifted to Anna, really seeing her. "You." "The cleaning woman? She stopped you," Marcus interrupted. "Found your virus, traced your plan, stopped everything. You get nothing. Not the company, not assets, not freedom." Footsteps echoed. Security, police, consequence catching up. As Diego and Isabella were led away in handcuffs, Isabella turned back, face twisted with rage. "You'll regret this, both of you." Then gone. The office fell silent. Marcus stood in the empty room, feeling everything pressing down. Company saved, enemies caught. Justice served. So why did he feel hollow? "Marcus," Anna's voice was gentle. "You should go home. Rest. Stay." The word escaped before he could stop it. Anna looked surprised. "Just for a while," he said quietly. "I don't want to be alone." Anna studied him in the dim light. For a long moment she didn't answer. Then slowly, carefully, she nodded. They walked back to his office together, 2 people carrying weights the other couldn't see. The rain had stopped completely now, leaving the windows streaked with silver trails catching city lights. Marcus collapsed into his chair, suddenly exhausted beyond measure. Anna moved to the window, her silhouette dark against the glowing cityscape. "Why did you really leave that world?" Marcus asked into the silence. Anna was quiet so long he thought she wouldn't answer. Then she spoke, her voice barely above whisper. "Because I trusted someone once, and they used my skills to hurt people. When I found out, I tried to stop them. But by then..." She paused. "By then it was too late. People were ruined, lives destroyed, and my name was attached to all of it. So you disappeared. I became invisible." She turned to look at him. "Sometimes invisibility is the only protection left." Marcus understood then why she cleaned floors, why she'd refused at first, why she demanded anonymity. She wasn't hiding from the law. She was hiding from herself. from the person she'd been, from skills that had been weaponized against her will. "Thank you," he said finally, "for breaking your own rules, for saving me." Anna smiled, small and sad. "Maybe we saved each other tonight." The betrayal is exposed, the empire secured. But in the wreckage of trust destroyed, two broken people found something neither expected: the beginning of understanding. The days that followed felt like walking through fog. Marcus threw himself into damage control with mechanical precision, press conferences explaining the cyber attack with carefully crafted neutrality, board meetings reassuring investors, legal proceedings watching Diego and Isabella face consequences for betrayal that still felt unreal. Through it all, he moved like a man underwater, functional but distant, breathing but not quite alive. The media called him a hero, the one who'd saved his empire through quick thinking and resilience. They didn't know about Anna. Nobody did. She'd vanished the morning after, leaving only a bank transfer confirmation and silence. True to their agreement, she'd returned to invisibility. Marcus tried to forget her, tried to focus on rebuilding, on moving forward, on pretending that night hadn't changed something fundamental inside him. But everywhere he looked, he saw reminders. The chair where she'd sat, the screens where her fingers had danced, the window where she'd stood silhouetted against city lights, confessing truths he hadn't asked for. 2 weeks passed, then 3. His assistant noticed he stayed later at the office, long after everyone left. His friends, the few real ones remaining, noticed he'd stopped returning calls. His mother, calling from Barcelona, noticed the emptiness in his voice. "You sound lost, mijijo," she said during one call. "I'm fine, Mama. Just tired." "Tired, I understand. Lost is different. Lost means you're searching for something you can't name." She was right. Mothers usually were. Marcus was searching. Every evening he walked through the empty 47th floor after hours, looking for a grey uniform and dark hair, pulled into a practical bun. Hoping to see her emptying trash bins with that quiet efficiency, hoping for a chance to say, "What? Thank you again? Stay? Don't be invisible anymore?" He didn't know. He only knew the silence in his life had become deafening. On a Thursday evening, 3 weeks after the attack, Marcus was working late when he heard the soft sound of wheels on carpet. His heart jumped. He stood quickly, moving toward his office door, expecting, hoping. But it wasn't Anna. It was an older woman, heavy-set, with kind eyes and a different cleaning cart. She smiled apologetically. "Sorry to disturb, senor." "Wait." Marcus stepped into the hallway. "The woman who used to work this floor, Anna. Do you know where she went?" The older woman looked confused. "Anna, I've been on this floor for 2 months, senor. There's no Anna on my team." Dark hair, early 30s, quiet. She was here 3 weeks ago. The woman shook her head slowly. "I'm sorry. I don't know who you mean." After she left, Marcus stood in the empty hallway, feeling foolish. Of course, there was no record of Anna. She'd been careful, ghost-like, even before their night together. She'd probably used a false name, false documents. She'd told him she was invisible, and she'd meant it literally. He returned to his office and did something he'd been avoiding. He opened his laptop and searched for her name. Anna Sole. Nothing useful appeared. A few social media profiles that clearly weren't her. A mention in an old university directory from Madrid. A newspaper article about a tech conference from 8 years ago. He clicked the article. The headline read, "Young engineer exposes security flaws in banking systems." There was a photo. Small, grainy, but unmistakably her. Younger, smiling, accepting an award. The caption identified her as Ana Soledad Romero, cybersecurity specialist and ethical hacker. Marcus read the article twice, memorizing details. She'd been celebrated once, respected, on her way to becoming one of the most sought-after security experts in Europe. Then, 5 years ago, the article stopped. No more conferences, no more awards, no more mentions, as if she'd simply ceased to exist. What happened to you? He wondered, staring at her younger face frozen in newsprint. His phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "Stop looking for me." Marcus's pulse quickened. He typed back immediately. "Anna." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, then appeared again. Finally. "You promised to forget. Let me go." His fingers moved before his mind could stop them. "I can't." A long pause. Marcus stared at the screen, hardly breathing. Then, "Why not?" He thought about lying, about saying something logical and professional, but sitting alone in his office at midnight, with only ghosts and city lights for company, he found he couldn't. "Because you're the only real thing that's happened to me in years." The dots appeared and disappeared several times. Marcus could imagine her somewhere across the city, staring at her phone, fighting the same battle between safety and something more dangerous. Finally, Parque del Retiro, tomorrow, noon, the Crystal Palace. Then nothing. No confirmation she'd actually come. No promise this wasn't goodbye, just coordinates and hope. Marcus didn't sleep that night. He lay in his penthouse bedroom, staring at the ceiling, counting hours until noon. Part of him wondered if this was a mistake, if he should honor their original agreement and let her remain invisible. The rational part of his mind said she was right. They'd made a deal, she'd fulfilled it, and pursuing this would only complicate both their lives. But the part of him that had felt dead since Isabella's betrayal, the part that had awakened during those hours working beside Anna in his office, that part refused to listen to reason. Morning came slowly. Marcus went through his routine automatically. Shower, coffee, suit. But everything felt different, charged with anticipation that made his hands unsteady. At 11:30, he told his assistant he was taking a long lunch. At 11:50, he was walking through the park entrance. The Palacio de Cristal stood like something from a fairy tale, all glass and iron and light, surrounded by trees reflecting in a small lake. Marcus arrived 5 minutes early and waited outside, watching people pass. Tourists taking photos, couples holding hands, families with children feeding ducks. Normal life, carrying on, oblivious to the fact that his entire world was about to shift. Noon came, then 5 past, 10 past. Marcus felt hope beginning to curdle into disappointment. She wasn't coming. Of course she wasn't. She'd probably sent the text as a test to see if he'd actually show up, to confirm he was the kind of fool who'd chase ghosts across the city. He was about to leave when he saw her. Anna stood at the edge of the trees, wearing jeans and a simple white blouse, her hair down for the first time, falling past her shoulders in dark waves. She looked different in daylight, younger, more vulnerable, more real. For a long moment, they just stared at each other across the distance, neither moving. Then she walked toward him slowly, each step seeming to cost her something. When she stopped, she was close enough that Marcus could see gold flecks in her brown eyes, could smell something faintly floral in her hair. "You came," he said quietly. "I shouldn't have." "But you did." Anna looked away toward the Crystal Palace glittering in midday sun. "I told myself I wouldn't, that it was safer to stay away, to let you move on, to keep being invisible. But then..." She trailed off. "But then?" Marcus prompted gently. She finally met his eyes. "But then I realized I was tired of being invisible, tired of hiding, tired of pretending that night didn't matter." Something in Marcus's chest loosened. It mattered to me too. Marcus. Anna's voice carried warning and longing in equal measure. You don't know me. You don't know what I've done, the mistakes I've made. If you knew, then tell me, he interrupted. Tell me everything. Anna laughed, but there was no humor in it. You say that now, but people like you don't end up with people like me. You're Marcus James, CEO, multimillionaire. I'm nobody, a ghost. You saved my life, Marcus said simply. You're the furthest thing from nobody I've ever met. I also destroyed someone else's life once, used my skills the wrong way, trusted the wrong person, and when it all fell apart, I ran. Marcus stepped closer. Is that why you disappeared? Because I made someone else pay for my mistakes. And I've spent 5 years trying to become small enough that I could never hurt anyone again. Anna. Marcus spoke her name like a prayer. Whatever happened, you're here now. You helped me when you didn't have to. That's not the action of someone who wants to hurt people. Tears gathered in Anna's eyes but didn't fall. Or desperation. Maybe I helped you because I wanted to remember what it felt like to matter. You matter to me. A ghost learning to be seen. A man learning to trust again. But can two people built from broken pieces create something whole? The words hung between them, fragile and enormous. Anna looked at Marcus like she wanted to believe him, but couldn't quite manage it. Like someone who'd been invisible so long that being seen felt more terrifying than safety. She wrapped her arms around herself despite the warm afternoon sun, a gesture of protection that made Marcus's chest ache. You don't know what you're saying, she whispered. Then help me understand. Anna turned away, walking slowly toward the Crystal Palace. Marcus followed, matching her pace, giving her space to find words for truths she'd kept buried. They entered the glass structure together, their footsteps echoing in the vast, light-filled space. The curved ceiling rose above them like a cathedral made of transparency, filtering sunlight into patterns that danced across the floor. For a long time, Anna said nothing. She simply stood in the center of the palace, looking up at the sky visible through endless panes of glass. When she finally spoke, her voice was so quiet, Marcus had to move closer to hear. His name was Daniel. We worked together at a cybersecurity firm in Madrid. He was brilliant, charming, everything I thought I wanted, and I was young, stupid, in love. She paused, her jaw tightening. He asked me to help him with a private project, said it was freelance work, completely legal. I believed him because I wanted to, because trusting him was easier than asking questions. Marcus stayed silent, letting her confession unfold at its own pace. The project was creating backdoor access into a banking system. He told me it was for security testing, that the bank had hired us. I built it perfectly. Elegant, undetectable, exactly what he needed. Anna's voice cracked slightly. Except there was no bank contract. Daniel was working for criminals. People trafficking, money laundering, everything dark you can imagine. And my code, my beautiful, perfect code, made it all possible. You didn't know, Marcus said gently. No, but that doesn't matter, does it? People still got hurt, families destroyed, lives ruined. All because I was too blind, too trusting, too in love to see what was right in front of me. She finally looked at him, tears streaming down her face now. By the time I discovered the truth, it was too late. Daniel disappeared with millions, and I was left holding the evidence, my name attached to everything. Did you go to the police? Anna nodded. I told them everything, testified against Daniel when they finally caught him. But the damage was done. My reputation was destroyed. No one would hire me. Other hackers saw me as a traitor. Law enforcement saw me as complicit. So I disappeared, became Anna Sole, instead of Ana Romero. Started cleaning floors because it was the only work where no one asked about my past. Marcus understood then, the weight she carried, the reasons she'd tried to refuse helping him, the fear that using her skills again would lead to more destruction, more pain, more proof that she couldn't be trusted with the gifts she'd been given. "You're not responsible for what he did," Marcus said. "Aren't I? I built the weapon. He just pulled the trigger." "No." Marcus moved closer, close enough to see the pain etched in every line of her face. "You built something beautiful that someone else corrupted. That's not the same thing. And what you did for me, stopping that attack, exposing the real criminals, that's redemption. That's proof you're nothing like him." "Or proof I'm exactly like him," Ana countered bitterly. "Using my skills for money, for personal gain. You used your skills to save people, to stop thieves, to protect something worth protecting." Marcus reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away, and gently wiped a tear from her cheek. "That's not corruption. That's courage." Ana closed her eyes at his touch, leaning into it slightly as if she was starving for human contact and terrified of it simultaneously. When she opened them again, something had shifted in her expression, still guarded, still afraid, but also hopeful in a way that broke Marcus's heart. "Why do you care?" she asked. "Why does any of this matter to you?" Marcus thought about how to answer. He could tell her it was gratitude, respect, admiration for her skills. All of that would be true, but standing in this palace of glass and light, with this woman who'd saved him in more ways than one, he found himself speaking a deeper truth. "Because for years I built walls, protected myself, trusted no one, kept everyone at a distance. I thought that made me strong. Then in one night, you showed me what real strength looks like. Vulnerability, risk, choosing to help even when it cost you everything you'd built to protect yourself." He paused, searching for the right words. "You reminded me what it feels like to be human, to need someone, to want more than just survival." Ana stared at him, her breath catching. "Marcus, I'm not asking you to be anything other than who you are," he continued. "I'm not asking you to stop being careful, to trust blindly, to forget what happened. I'm just asking you not to disappear again. Not yet. Give me a chance to know you, the real you, not the ghost, not the person you think you have to be. Just Ana." The silence that followed felt endless. Marcus could hear his own heartbeat, could feel the weight of everything unsaid pressing down on this moment. He'd laid himself bare in a way he hadn't done since childhood, offered vulnerability to someone who could destroy him as easily as Isabella had tried to. But somehow with Ana, that risk felt worth taking. Finally she spoke. "What if I hurt you? What if I'm still broken in ways I can't fix? Then we'll figure it out together, and if it doesn't work, at least we tried." Marcus smiled slightly. "I'm tired of being safe, Ana. Safety didn't protect me from betrayal. It just made me lonely." Ana laughed through her tears, the sound fragile but genuine. "You're asking a ghost to learn how to haunt you properly. I'm asking a woman to stop being invisible, to let herself be seen, to take a risk on someone who's terrified and hopeful in equal measure." She studied his face for a long moment, searching for lies or manipulation or ulterior motives. Marcus let her look, holding nothing back, letting her see every scar and fear and desperate hope he carried. Whatever she found must have been enough, because slowly, carefully she reached out and took his hand. Her fingers were cold despite the warm day. Marcus wrapped his hand around hers, warming them, anchoring them both. "One step at a time," Ana said quietly. "No promises, no guarantees, just a possibility. Possibility is enough." They stood there in the Crystal Palace, two people made of broken pieces and careful hope, holding hands like teenagers on a first date. Around them, tourists continued their tours. Families laughed, life carried on. But in that moment, in that space filled with light and transparency, something new was beginning. Something fragile, something precious, something neither of them quite believed in yet, but were willing to try for anyway. "Tell me about you," Anna said after a while. "Not Marcus James, the CEO, the person underneath." Marcus smiled. "That might take a while. I have time now, if you do." They left the Crystal Palace together and walked through the park, talking. Really talking. Marcus told her about growing up poor in a small Spanish town, about working 3 jobs to pay for university, about building his company from nothing because he refused to stay invisible the way his family had been. Anna told him about her childhood in Madrid, about discovering computers at 12, and falling in love with the logic of code, about the joy of solving impossible problems and the devastation of having that gift weaponized. Hours passed. The sun moved across the sky. They bought coffee from a vendor and sat on a bench overlooking the lake, their conversation flowing like water finding its natural course. No pretense, no performance. Just 2 people learning each other's rhythms, discovering compatibility in unexpected places. As evening approached and golden light painted everything warm, Marcus realized he was happy. Not relieved or satisfied or successful, actually happy. The kind of happiness that comes from genuine connection, from being fully present with another person, from taking off the armor and discovering you're still standing. "I should go," Anna said reluctantly, as shadows lengthened. "Can I see you again?" She smiled, shy and real. "Yes, I'd like that. 2 ghosts learning to become real. 1 step at a time, 1 risk at a time, 1 moment of hope at a time." The weeks that followed felt like watching a sunrise in slow motion, gradual, warming, impossible to rush but beautiful in its unfolding. Marcus and Anna moved carefully around each other, like 2 people learning a new language made of glances and silences and small gestures that meant everything. They met in quiet places where the world couldn't intrude. Small cafes tucked away from main streets, park benches under old trees, museums during weekday afternoons when the crowds thinned. Anna was teaching Marcus how to see the world differently. She showed him the beauty in code, the poetry in algorithms, the way systems could be elegant or clumsy, honest or deceptive. She explained technology the way someone else might explain art, with passion and precision that made even the most complex concepts feel accessible. Marcus was teaching Anna how to be visible again, not all at once, not in ways that felt dangerous, but in small increments that built confidence. He introduced her to his mother over video call, watching Anna's nervous smile transform into genuine warmth as they talked about Madrid and cooking and nothing important. He invited her to a quiet dinner at his penthouse, letting her see the private spaces he rarely shared with anyone. Slowly, carefully, they were building something neither quite had words for yet. But the past has a way of refusing to stay buried. It happened on a Tuesday evening. Marcus and Anna were at his penthouse sharing takeout and working on opposite ends of his couch. Marcus reviewing contracts, Anna reading a book about cryptography that looked more complex than anything Marcus had ever attempted. It was comfortable, domestic, the kind of ordinary that felt extraordinary because of who they were sharing it with. Then Anna's phone rang. She glanced at the screen and went completely still. Her face drained of color so quickly, Marcus thought she might faint. "Anna? What's wrong?" She didn't answer, just stared at the phone like it was a snake coiled to strike. The ringing stopped, then immediately started again. Someone desperate to reach her. "I need to take this," she whispered, standing abruptly and moving toward the balcony. "I'm sorry, But Marcus had already seen the name on her screen before she turned away. Daniel. The man who'd destroyed her life. The man she'd testified against. The man who should have been in prison. Marcus watched through the glass doors as Anna answered, her body language shifting into something defensive and small. He couldn't hear the words, but he could see the effect. The way her shoulders hunched, the way her free hand gripped the balcony railing until her knuckles went white, the way her whole being seemed to fold inward under whatever was being said. The call lasted 3 minutes. When Anna came back inside, she looked shattered. "He's out," she said flatly. "Early release." "Good behavior." Marcus felt cold rage settle in his chest. "When?" "2 weeks ago. He's been looking for me. Found my number somehow. Wants to meet." "Absolutely not." Anna laughed, hollow and broken. "That's what I said." "But Marcus..." Her voice cracked. "He knows where I am, he knows about you. He said if I don't meet him, he'll go public with everything. Tell the media I helped him willingly. Destroy what's left of my reputation and yours by association." "Let him try," Marcus said fiercely. "I'll bury him in lawsuits, He has evidence," Anna interrupted. "Emails I sent him back then. Things that could be interpreted as complicity if you don't know the context. He's threatening to release everything unless I help him with one more job." The room felt too small suddenly. Marcus moved to stand in front of Anna, tilting her chin up gently so she had to meet his eyes. "You're not doing this. Whatever he wants, whatever he's threatening, you're not going back to that." "If I don't, he'll destroy us both. You've already been through one scandal, Marcus. Your company barely survived. You can't afford..." "I can afford anything except losing you to him again." Marcus's voice was steel wrapped in tenderness. "We'll find another way. We'll fight this together. But you are not meeting him alone, and you are not doing anything illegal, and you are absolutely not sacrificing yourself to protect me." Tears spilled down Anna's cheeks. "You don't understand. He's dangerous. He's connected. If we fight him, he'll escalate. He'll find ways to hurt you that lawsuits can't prevent. Then we'll be smarter, stronger. We'll beat him at his own game." "How?" The word came out desperate, pleading. "How do we fight someone who has nothing to lose and everything to gain from destroying us?" Marcus thought quickly, his mind shifting into the strategic mode that had built his empire. Daniel was a criminal, yes, but he was also predictable. People like him operated from patterns: greed, ego, the belief that they were smarter than everyone else, and people with those patterns had weaknesses. "We give him what he wants," Marcus said slowly. Anna stared at him. "What?" "We set a meeting. You tell him you'll help with his job. But we control the environment. We record everything. We get him to admit to the original crimes, to the current threats. And then we hand it all to the police with evidence so airtight he can't escape this time. That's insane. If he suspects anything, he won't. Because you'll be brilliant the way you always are. You'll play the scared, compliant victim he expects. And I'll be back up, invisible for once, making sure nothing goes wrong." Anna shook her head violently. "It's too dangerous. If he finds out you're involved, he won't." "Anna, listen to me." Marcus took both her hands in his. "You spent 5 years hiding because of what this man did to you. 5 years being invisible, being small, being afraid. I'm not letting him steal any more of your life. We end this. Together. And then you're finally free." Anna searched his face, looking for certainty in a situation that had none. Marcus held her gaze steadily, pouring every ounce of conviction he had into this moment. He knew it was risky, knew 1,000 things could go wrong. But he also knew that running would never solve this, that Daniel would keep coming back, keep threatening, keep using Anna's past as a weapon against her future. This had to end. Now. "Okay," Anna whispered finally. But we do this smart, carefully, with a real plan, not just improvisation. Agreed. We'll bring in my head of security, the new one, and we'll involve the police from the beginning. Make this official. Daniel won't know what hit him. Anna nodded slowly, some color returning to her face. The fear was still there, but alongside it now was something else. Determination. The beginning of fight replacing flight. Marcus pulled her into his arms, feeling her trembling gradually subside as he held her. They stood like that for a long time, two people gathering strength from each other, preparing for a battle neither wanted but both knew was necessary. "Thank you," Anna murmured against his chest. "For what?" "For not running. For staying. For making me believe I'm worth fighting for." Marcus tightened his embrace. "You're worth everything, Anna. It's time the world knew that." Starting with him. Outside the windows, Madrid glittered in the darkness. Somewhere in that city, Daniel was planning his next move. But for the first time in 5 years, Anna wouldn't be facing him alone. The ghost has found her strength. The broken man has found his purpose. Now they face the demon that started it all. Together. The meeting was set for Friday evening at a warehouse in the industrial district. Daniel's choice, his territory, his rules. Or so he thought. Marcus spent 3 days preparing with the precision of a military operation. His new head of security, a former intelligence officer named Torres, swept the location and planted surveillance equipment so sophisticated it could capture a whisper from 50 meters away. The police agreed to position undercover officers in unmarked vehicles surrounding the building, ready to move the moment they had enough evidence. Anna rehearsed her role until it became second nature, the frightened woman, compliant and desperate. Exactly what Daniel expected, but Marcus could see the steel underneath now, the core of strength she'd been rebuilding brick by brick. She wasn't the same person Daniel had manipulated 5 years ago. She was harder now, wiser, and she had something she didn't have back then, someone standing beside her. Friday arrived with clear skies and cold wind. Marcus watched Anna dress for the meeting in clothes that looked vulnerable, soft sweater, jeans, minimal makeup. She was creating a character, armor made of apparent weakness. When she finished, she turned to him with eyes that held both fear and fierce determination. "I'm ready," she said. Marcus crossed to her and cupped her face gently in his hands. "You don't have to do this. We can find another way." "There is no other way. This ends tonight." He kissed her then, soft and careful, pouring everything he couldn't say into that single moment. When they pulled apart, Anna's eyes were bright with unshed tears. "Come back to me," Marcus whispered. "Always." Torres drove Anna to the warehouse, while Marcus monitored from a surveillance van parked 3 blocks away. He wore a headset that let him hear everything, see everything through the cameras Anna wore disguised as a button on her sweater, and through the equipment already in place. His heart hammered as he watched her walk into the building alone, her figure small against the vast empty space. Daniel was waiting in the center of the warehouse, leaning against a table with practiced casualness. He looked older than his photos, harder, with the kind of smile that didn't reach his eyes. When he saw Anna, his expression shifted into something predatory. "Anna, it's been a long time." "Not long enough." Anna's voice was steady, despite the trembling in her hands. "Still angry. I thought you'd have gotten over that by now." Daniel pushed off the table and circled her slowly, assessing. "You look different. Tired. What have you been doing with yourself? Still cleaning toilets?" Anna flinched, and Marcus had to grip the edge of his chair to keep from charging out of the van. But Anna recovered quickly, lifting her chin. "What do you want, Daniel?" "The same thing I've always wanted. Your brilliant mind helping me with projects that pay significantly better than minimum wage." He pulled out a tablet and slid it across the table. "I need you to crack this encryption. Banking system, very secure, very lucrative, just like old times." Anna stared at the tablet without touching it. "And if I refuse? Then I release the emails." The press gets a fascinating story about Marcus James's new girlfriend, the criminal hacker who helped steal millions. His company won't survive another scandal. Neither will you. "You're threatening to destroy an innocent man because I won't help you steal." Daniel laughed. "Innocent? Nobody with that much money is innocent, Anna. But if you prefer, think of it as protecting him. Help me with this one job and I disappear forever. Everyone wins. Except the people you'll hurt with whatever you're planning. Always so concerned about others. That was your weakness then, and apparently it still is." Daniel leaned forward, his smile turning cruel. "Here's what you don't understand. The world doesn't reward good people, it rewards smart ones. And you're smart enough to know this is your only option." Anna was silent for a long moment. Then slowly, she reached for the tablet. Marcus's breath caught, even though he knew this was part of the plan. Watching her pretend to comply still felt like watching her slip away. "I'll need time," Anna said quietly. "This level of encryption could take days. You have 48 hours. And Anna?" Daniel caught her wrist as she turned to leave. "Don't try anything clever. I have people watching you, watching your boyfriend. One wrong move, and things get very unpleasant very quickly." Anna pulled her hand away. "I understand." She started walking toward the exit, and Marcus felt every muscle in his body tense. They needed more. A few threats and implications weren't enough for the police to move. They needed a confession, proof of the original crimes, something undeniable. Then Anna stopped, turned back. "Why did you do it?" she asked, her voice carrying across the empty space. 5 years ago. Why did you use me like that?" Daniel tilted his head, curious. "Does it matter?" "It matters to me. I trusted you. Loved you. And you destroyed my entire life without hesitation. I need to know why." For a moment, Daniel's mask slipped. Something honest and ugly showed through. "Because you made it easy. You were brilliant but naive, talented but trusting. Using you was the smartest move I ever made." He walked closer, his voice dropping. "And honestly, I'd do it again. You helped me steal 15 million euros with that banking backdoor. Best payday of my life. Worth every lie, every manipulation, every moment of pretending to care about you." There it was. Full confession. Specific amounts. Admission of manipulation and theft. Marcus saw Torres give a hand signal. The police moved in silently, surrounding the exits. Daniel was still talking, lost in his own arrogance. "The beauty of it was watching you testify against me, thinking you were being noble, while I had already hidden most of the money where no one could touch it. Even prison was just a minor inconvenience, and now with your help again The warehouse doors burst open. Police flooded in from every direction, weapons drawn, voices shouting commands. Daniel's face went from smug to shocked to furious in 3 seconds. He spun toward Anna, reaching for something in his jacket. "You bitch!" But Anna was already moving, dropping into a defensive stance Marcus had never seen her use. When Daniel lunged, she sidestepped smoothly and swept his legs, sending him crashing to the concrete floor. Before he could recover, 3 officers were on him, cuffing his hands behind his back while he screamed threats and obscenities. Marcus was out of the van and running before he consciously decided to move. He reached the warehouse just as Anna was giving her statement to the detective in charge, her voice steady despite the adrenaline still coursing through her system. When she saw him, something in her face cracked. She met him halfway and he caught her in his arms as she finally let herself shake. "It's over," Marcus murmured into her hair. "You did it. It's over." Anna clutched him tightly, her breath coming in short gasps. He confessed everything. They have him. They have him, and this time he won't get out. Not with attempted extortion, conspiracy to commit fraud, and parole violation on top of everything else. The detective approached, offering Anna a kind smile. "You were incredibly brave, Ms. Romero. Your testimony and this recording will put him away for a very long time. We'll need you to come to the station tomorrow for a full statement, but for tonight, you're free to go." Free. The word hung in the air like a prayer answered. They drove back to Marcus's penthouse in silence, both too overwhelmed for words. It wasn't until they were inside, safe behind locked doors with the city lights spreading below them like fallen stars, that Anna finally spoke. "I keep waiting to feel different," she said softly. "Like something should have changed the moment he got arrested. But I just feel tired." Marcus pulled her down onto the couch beside him. "Healing isn't instant, but it starts now. Really starts. No more hiding. No more fear. Just moving forward." Anna leaned against him, her head on his shoulder. "I don't know how to do that. Be visible. Be Anna Romero again instead of Anna Sole. Then we'll figure it out together, one day at a time." They sat like that for hours, talking quietly about the future. Small things at first, where Anna might work now that she didn't have to hide her skills, whether she wanted to reclaim her old reputation or build something new. Then, bigger things. What it meant to build a life together, to trust again, to believe that tomorrow might be better than today. As midnight approached and exhaustion finally began to win, Anna turned to look at Marcus with eyes that held something he hadn't seen before. Not hope exactly, but something deeper. Peace, maybe. The beginning of it anyway. "Thank you," she said quietly, "for seeing me when I was invisible, for staying when I tried to disappear, for fighting beside me instead of for me." Marcus brushed a strand of hair from her face. "Thank you for saving my life, and then teaching me how to actually live it." "So what happens now?" Anna asked. Marcus smiled. "Now, we start over, build something real, something that isn't based on crisis or fear or desperation. We get to find out who we are when we're not running from anything." "That sounds terrifying." "Probably, but also beautiful." Anna nodded slowly, a small smile finally touching her lips. "Beautiful. I like that." Outside the windows, Madrid slept. Inside, two people who'd found each other in darkness finally allowed themselves to rest in the light. The empire was saved, the betrayers punished, the demon defeated, but more importantly, much more importantly, two ghosts had learned to become real again, together. If this story touched your heart, remember, some riches can't be bought. They're earned by the heart. From 0 to 10, what's your rating for this story? Tell us in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories of love and redemption.